Hey, first grade, it should be Wednesday, May 27th. We are continuing to work on making predictions with a relationship between making a prediction and making an inference. So we've talked about the fact that making an inference involves what you already know, prior knowledge, background knowledge, plus the clues from the text and the pictures. Whatever you see in the pictures or what the words say help you to predict what will be coming next. And will help you to infer what's happening now. I'm sorry, I'm mixing my ideas up. Making a good prediction also requires you to use some prior knowledge. Usually you rely more heavily on the text when you make a prediction. But in the long run, in both cases, you're using something you already know and applying it to what you're reading or seeing. So I have some more prediction practice for you. And I'd like to have feedback, and I can't, so I'm going to just leave space for you to answer some of these questions. Look closely at the picture. You see what's happening here. The hat. This woman has something in her hand. She's pointing. So ask yourself, who do you think this woman is? What do her clothes suggest? What does her gear suggest? Well, I'm going to suggest that she's some kind of leader or guide for perhaps a field trip or a hiking adventure. Who are the children? Well, they might be they might be her own children, but they might be other children that have come to like a summer camp to go camping. What clues did you use to decide? And as I said, I'm looking at what they're wearing. They all seem to be having these jackets on and backpacks and hats that kind of make them seem like they're together. So my theory is that it is a woman at a summer camp or a Girl Scout camp or something like that, and these are campers. What do you think will happen next? Well, I'm going to guess that what's in her hand might be a cell phone, and she's looked up directions for something, and that's what she's looking at, and because she's gesturing that way, she's telling the children, this is the way we should go next. How did thinking about the people first help you make a smarter prediction? Well, again, looking at the picture, we have an adult with two children. We don't really know what the children look like because they're facing away from us, so we can't see their hair. We did notice that the people are all wearing similar clothing and backpacks. So those are all important clues to making our prediction. So let's do another one really quickly. So let's look at the clouds in this picture. Think about your prior knowledge, your background knowledge of clouds. And I believe you went over a whole unit with Mrs. Gregory about clouds. How will what you already know help you make a smart prediction about what will happen next? So I believe Mrs. Gregory taught you a lot about clouds and what the different clouds look like and what they mean. So we see these dark gray, deep gray clouds hanging very low. They're very thick. Maybe you remember the name of them, the nimbus clouds, the cumulonimbus clouds. These are clouds that mean that rain is coming. So we can predict, based on our knowledge of clouds, that rain is going to come next. Here's a really good one. Not too much information. It says, whoa, predict. So I'm not going to tell you what I think. I mean, I have my own opinions, but you use that information and just think in your head, or you can say out loud to somebody who's nearby what you think is going to happen next. Make your prediction based on your prior knowledge and what you see in the picture. So that's how we make predictions. We think about what we already know about what we see or what we're reading about, and then we put it together with what's there on the page. So today we're going to read a book that perhaps you know, but I want to apply it to making predictions. This is called The Grouchy Ladybug by one of my favorite authors, Eric Carle. I like his work because I know, prior knowledge, that his books are both entertaining and informative. I enjoy reading them, and they're usually fiction, and they're amusing, but they're also giving me some new information or something perhaps that I can benefit from learning. So the Grouchy Ladybug, I think, does this quite well. So as we're reading, I'm going to point that out. And one important thing that's included in this book at the very beginning that I actually learned as an adult and did not know is this little piece right here. It says, aphids are very small insects. They suck the juice from leaves, and then the leaves die. Ladybugs eat aphids. That's good for trees, shrubs, and other plants that have leaves. To the ladybugs, I have dedicated this book. 3 cheers for them. So we can appreciate ladybugs because they eat up the things that might destroy plants. So I learned about aphids through a book by Eric Carle. There we go. It was night and some fireflies danced around the moon. And oftentimes Eric Carle likes to put a face on his moon. This one doesn't seem to have as distinct a face, but he does that often. At 5 o'clock in the morning, the sun came up. A friendly ladybug flew in from the left. It saw a leaf with many aphids on it. Now we know, because of what we read at the beginning, our prior knowledge, that that means that the ladybug is going to get something to eat, and decided to have them for breakfast. But just then a grouchy ladybug flew in from the right. It too saw the aphids and wanted them for breakfast. And I want to point out up in the corner here, there's a clock. And he said it was 5 o'clock. So I'm actually, if I didn't know about telling time, I would see the 5 o'clock there. And there's all the aphids and the 2 ladybugs. Good morning, said the friendly ladybug. Go away, shouted the grouchy ladybug. I want those aphids. We can share them, suggested the friendly ladybug. No, they're mine, all mine, screamed the grouchy ladybug. Or do you want to fight me for them? So here's the friendly ladybug. You can tell by her smile on her face. And here's the grouchy ladybug who's saying, go away. This ladybug said good morning. If you insist, answered the friendly ladybug sweetly. It looked the other bug straight in the eye. The grouchy ladybug stepped back. It looked less sure of itself. Now we can infer the ladybug stepped back and didn't look quite so sure of herself. She might be afraid. Oh, you're not big enough for me to fight, it said. Well, that's a strange thing for it to say, right? You're not big enough. Then why don't you pick on somebody bigger? I'll do that, screeched the grouchy ladybug. I'll show you. It puffed itself up and flew away. Now, the very cool thing about the way Eric Carle made this book is that the pages are sort of like flaps. First page, you can see the sun is nowhere in the picture, but as we go through the book, you see the sun moving up and then moving down, and there are clocks at the top of every page. Okay? So what we're going to do is, as we read the book, I'm going to ask you to predict what might be on the next page. If you already know this book, that's fine, but I want you to think about why you know that's what's on the next page, assuming you don't know. At 6 o'clock, well, we knew that was coming. The clock is changing. It met a yellow jacket. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Wanna fight? If you insist, said the yellow jacket, showing its stinger. Now, is the grouchy ladybug going to fight the yellow jacket? What's your prediction? Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. Now, What can we infer about the reason she's saying you're not big enough? Why is she saying that? Think about it, okay? Let's go to the next page. Look at that. What do you notice from this page to the next? There's sort of a pattern. There's the sun. What time do you think is on the clock? At 7 o'clock, it saw a stag beetle. What do you predict? What is the Grouchy Ladybug going to say? Hey, you, said the Grouchy Ladybug. Wanna fight? And what's the stag beetle going to say? If you insist, said the stag beetle, opening its jaws. Oh, you're not big enough, said the Grouchy Ladybug, and flew off. What time is it going to be next? What's your prediction? And what's going to be in the picture? At 8 o'clock, and again, notice where the sun is, okay? At 8 o'clock, it came across a praying mantis. What is your prediction about what the Grouchy Ladybug is going to say? Hey, you, said the Grouchy Ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the praying mantis, reaching out with its long front legs. What's the Grouchy Ladybug going to say? Oh, you're not big enough, said the Grouchy Ladybug, and flew off. What do you predict is going to be on this next page? What time is going to be on the clock? At 9 o'clock, it almost flew into a sparrow. Hey, you, said the Grouchy Ladybug. Want to fight? And what's the sparrow going to say? If you insist, said the sparrow, opening its sharp beak. What's the Grouchy Ladybug going to say? Oh, you're not big enough, said the Grouchy Ladybug, and flew off. What do you predict is going to be the time on the clock? What do you predict is going to be the animal? What do you think? Well, if we look at the pattern, the next animal is going to be bigger than a sparrow, right? At 10 o'clock, it saw a lobster. Hey, you, said the Grouchy Ladybug. Wanna fight? And what is the lobster going to say? If you insist, said the lobster, stretching its claws. And what's the Grouchy Ladybug going to say? Oh, you're not big enough, said the Grouchy Ladybug, and flew off. Oh, what time is it going to be? And I think you guys got a view of what it might be. It's obviously going to be an animal bigger than a lobster because that's the pattern. At 11 o'clock, it bumped into a skunk. What's the Grouchy Ladybug going to say? Hey, you, said the Grouchy Ladybug. Wanna fight? If you insist, said the skunk, starting to lift its tail. Oh, what's she going to say? Oh, you're not big enough, said the Grouchy Ladybug, and flew off. Now, predict what time is on the clock and what kind of animal. And what's the Grouchy Ladybug going to say? Or what's the animal going to say? Let's read on. At 12 noon, it spotted a boa constrictor. Hey, you, said the Grouchy Ladybug. Wanna fight? If you insist, said the snake, right after lunch. Oh, you're not big enough, said the Grouchy Ladybug, and she flew off. Why is she saying that they're not big enough? Yeah, we know why. So, this is 12 noon. The sun is right up high in the sky. What's the next event going to be? And there we are. At 1 o'clock, it happened upon a hyena. Hey, you, said the Grouchy Ladybug. Wanna fight? If you insist, said the hyena, laughing eerily and showing its teeth. What's the grouchy ladybug going to say? Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. And there is the grouchy ladybug, by the way. All right, I want you to think now. If it's 1 o'clock, what's the next page going to be? Okay, and also, what kind of animal would you think of that's bigger than a hyena? Because it's going to be a bigger animal. And you'll notice the sun going down over here. At 2 o'clock, it met a gorilla. What is she going to say? Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. You want to fight? What's the gorilla going to say? If you insist, said the gorilla, beating his chest. Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. There's the grouchy ladybug. Now I want to take you back over here. What do you notice about the words, the text? The text is also getting bigger. So it's 2 o'clock on this page. What do you predict the next page will be? And what kind of animal? Bigger than a gorilla? Let's find out. At 3 o'clock, it ran into a rhinoceros. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Wanna fight? If you insist, said the rhinoceros, lowering its horn. What's the grouchy ladybug going to say? Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. All right, 3 o'clock. What's the next page going to say? And what kind of animal would be bigger than a rhinoceros? Let's find out. At 4 o'clock, it encountered an elephant. What's she going to say? Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. Want to fight? If you insist, said the elephant, raising its trunk and showing its big tusks. What's the grouchy ladybug going to say? Oh, you're not big enough, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. Now it's 4 o'clock. What time are we going to see next? And think about this. This is a very big animal. What animal can you think of that would be bigger than an elephant? Let's find out. At 5 o'clock, it met a whale. Hey, you, said the grouchy ladybug. What you going to say? Want to fight? But the whale didn't answer at all. You're not big enough anyway, said the grouchy ladybug, and flew off. Now what's going to happen? It's 5 o'clock. Now it's harder to make a prediction, isn't it? Let's find out what happens next. Still seeing the whale. At 5:15, remember that? You learned about your clocks from Mrs. Crosscomb. At 5:15, the grouchy ladybug said to one of the whale's flippers, Hey, you want to fight? And what's the flipper going to say? Based on what you know, you can predict what the flipper is going to say. But it got no answer, so the ladybug flew on. Have any predictions about what's going to happen next? At 5:30, the grouchy ladybug said to the whale's fin, Hey, you wanna fight? But it got no answer, so it flew on. At 5:45, so you should have seen a pattern of 15 minutes passing, or a quarter of an hour. At 5:45, the grouchy ladybug said to the whale's tail, so it took her 45 minutes to get all the way down the whale, Hey, you wanna fight? and the whale's tail gave the Grouchy Ladybug such a slap that it flew across the sea and across the land. And notice where the sun is now. What time do you think is going to be next? What's your prediction? At 6 o'clock, the Grouchy Ladybug arrived right back where it had started from. Here's the Friendly Ladybug. You can see the smiling face. "Ah, here you are again," said the Friendly Ladybug. "You must be hungry. There are still some aphids left. You can have them for dinner." "Oh, thank you," said the wet, tired, and hungry ladybug. End of the story. Soon all the aphids were gone. "Thank you," said the leaf. "You are welcome," answered both ladybugs, and they went to sleep. The fireflies, who had been sleeping all day, came out to dance around the moon. If you remember, that was how our story began. So my hope is that you saw the patterns, you were able to use them to help you to make predictions and to be able to tell what's coming next. I hope you enjoyed that story. It's a real favorite one of mine, and I hope you have a good rest of the day. Bye.